Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, January 7th, 2020. It's 2020, folks. And, well, I don't know if any of you have heard by now, but there was a magnitude 6.5 earthquake that just hit right off the coast of Puerto Rico. Yesterday, they had a magnitude 5.8, and a very, very large cluster of earthquakes has been wreaking havoc in that area for a couple of days. I believe there was also a magnitude 6.2 in Indonesia, right off of the coast. And again, folks, we're in that period of the month. Remember, the first 10 days of every month and about the last week of every month, we are going to see these types of impacts with our seismic activity here on Earth. We're also going to see these impacts with our magnetosphere. And, I've gone over this a lot over the last couple of years. I've mentioned this Planet X 28-day orbit, this cycle. I've been working on this now. This is going into, I believe, the third year. I'm starting to lose track of time. But anyways, folks, these things are occurring. Also, yesterday, as expected, we had a coronal mass ejection. And I'm not sure how strong this coronal mass ejection is because a lot of the data is not in. Now, late last night, before I retired for the evening, I produced a video showing the initial information of this coronal mass ejection. The bad part about it is, folks, this CME is headed directly towards Earth. Now, this was possibly produced by a small sunspot that appeared kind of far below the sun's equatorial region or the equator or the middle point of the sun. Now, if any of you don't know where the Earth is positioned in accordance to the sun, we are kind of just below that equatorial region. So I'm constantly checking all of my instruments during these times of the month. And lo and behold, I kind of knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. And sure enough, it occurred. We're going to go ahead and look at some of this data. I've already written up a report based on this earthquake in Puerto Rico. The 5.8 magnitude earthquake did some damage yesterday. A lot of the houses in Puerto Rico are on concrete block stilts, and, people park their cars underneath. Well, those houses literally collapsed down and crushed cars. I just got a report from Fox News about 5 minutes ago, and there was this beautiful, beautiful rock formation right off of the southern coast of Puerto Rico, quite near where this earthquake occurred. This big rock formation has a huge hole in it that you could see right through it. It's almost like a rock land formation bridge. Well, this magnitude 6.5 took care of that, and that land monument in Puerto Rico on the beach is now gone completely. That arch has broken and literally it fell into the ocean. So that report just came out about 5 minutes ago on Fox News. We'll take a look, see if they have it up on their website. I'm going to go to the planetxnews.org website. We're going to take a brief look at this earthquake and what was written and sent out by the Associated Press. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into that. Let's make sure we get this sharing software in line. I'm going to bring up the live chat. Hey, also, folks, I just wanted to mention real quick. Whenever I'm doing my live streams, I am pretty centered on what I'm talking about and what I am showing you guys. The last live stream that I did, as I replayed it, I noticed that there were a few people that made some comments about I don't pay attention to the live chat. I try to do the best I can to pay attention to it, but it's kind of hard to deliver this information, report on it, and kind of, commingle with you guys in the live chat. This isn't a talk show like some of the other folks do where, they communicate with you guys in the live chat. So I do my best to answer questions, but I can't watch the live chat and present this information at the same time, even though I think I'm talented and I can multitask. But sometimes it is a bit difficult. I got the live chat up now. I'll set that off over there on my cell phone. And we're going to go ahead and pull this article up here real quick. I kind of knew this was coming because we are in a very, very unique position, meaning the Earth is in a unique position. And I'm going to explain all of that. I have a graphic that I designed last night, and I was having a chat with Mark over at Wages World. And back at the end of December, I had mentioned to him, and I had mentioned to him before and all of you, that going into this month of January, things were going to become a little more hectic. That's all based on Earth's position in its orbit around the sun. And during this 90-day period, which will be January, February, and March, we are going to be, meaning the Earth is going to be almost in a straight alignment with this Planet X object as it orbits the sun every 28 days. Whenever we get to that graphic, I'll explain it to all of you, and you'll better understand what I mean. But let's get into this earthquake because this was quite devastating. I'm also getting reports that there was significant damage after the 5.8 yesterday afternoon and this 6.5 that just rocked the island. We're going to go ahead and jump into this. This is coming right out of the Associated Press. San Juan, Puerto Rico, magnitude 6.5 earthquake struck Puerto Rico before dawn on Tuesday, the largest in a series of quakes that have struck the U.S. territory in recent days and caused heavy damage in some areas. A tsunami alert was initially issued for Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, but later canceled. The Electric Power Authority reported the island has widespread power outages. Right here, you could see in this graph, I took this right off of my Google Earth program that has all of the seismic data on it, and we could take a look at that in a few minutes. But right down here, in this lower corner, you can see the massive amount of earthquakes swarming right there in that section. Now, I've been to Puerto Rico several times in my career, years and years and years ago. I love the island. I tell you what, if it wasn't so hectic there with hurricane seasons and the earthquakes, wouldn't mind living there. Great people. But I know this section of Puerto Rico very, very well. It's near a small city area, Ponce. And there is a huge trench right off of the coast area. You can see right here in this darker blue area. And that is usually an area where these earthquakes swarm, where the majority of the earthquakes in Puerto Rico occur. The center part of Puerto Rico is very, very mountainous. Just down below on these edges here and here, relatively flat. But whenever you get up in the center parts of Puerto Rico, very mountainous, very hilly. The article goes on to state that the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, said that the earthquake hit at 4:24 a.m. Very, very bad time, folks. The majority of everybody is asleep or just about to get up and start their day. The earthquake hit just south of the island at a shallow depth of 10 kilometers. That is also bad because those shallow quakes naturally are closer to the surface. So therefore you get more of the rocking motion. Every single person on this island felt this earthquake. I've already checked the what's referred to as the shaker map, and everybody felt it. I mean, everybody felt it. So as the sun comes up in Puerto Rico in the next few hours, we'll probably start getting reports of the damage. Hopefully, nobody lost their lives and nobody was injured. These are photographs right here. This was actually caused by the earthquake yesterday, the magnitude 5.8. So it was in the same area, and we're going to go over that, and I'll show you exactly where these earthquakes were swarming. But you can see this house was up on those concrete block stilts. People park underneath. And, you know, a lot of that is due to the potential for flooding during hurricane season. And we've all seen the devastation of what's happened to Puerto Rico in the past. 2 years ago, just devastating. Once again, the concrete block pillars shaking back and forth. They're not built for earthquakes. So naturally, they crack, they break, and the whole structure collapses. Again, this was yesterday. And just my case in point, right there, you could follow my cursor. You could see those concrete block pillars completely broken, snapped, and that house is destroyed. You can see right here large cracks in the concrete block structure. Here's another viewpoint of the same house. This house is done. They'll have to completely demolish this structure. So that was the 6.5 that just struck. I'm going to go and jump real quick to the magnitude 5.8 that hit yesterday. And whenever I started monitoring the swarm of earthquakes about 36 hours ago, maybe a little bit more than that, I kind of had a feeling with where we were at in this time of the month. And then I saw that coronal mass ejection, which hasn't even made its way to the Earth yet. But I kind of figured, I said, oh my goodness, something's going to occur in the Ring of Fire. Well, Puerto Rico's not in the Ring of Fire, but what I was referring to was the South Pacific area and the Indonesia area, and possibly even New Zealand, anywhere in that area. Papua New Guinea had a considerable earthquake yesterday also. But I started to look at these swarms of earthquakes around this south central part of Puerto Rico. And I said to myself, wow, they're probably going to get hit with a pretty big earthquake in the next 24 hours. And it wasn't even 24 hours. It was about 12. Same structure. I included the photographs. This was a photograph that I took yesterday, and you can see the considerable swarming. Once again, this house was up on stilts. You can see a little bit of light right below here. Well, there's a car there, and there was a car right there where you see the brake light somehow went on. That pillar completely snapped off. And this is a close-up here of the magnitude 5.8 where it was. Not too far offshore, right at the top of that trench before it starts to sink down. This was a video report right here in this article. I forget what news station it came from. I embedded it into the article. You guys can go back over to the website later on and you can check it out. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of this article real quick. And let me move back to the home page. Delicious coffee. I'm going to bring up this one earthquake map here. Now, this was the earthquake right over here in Indonesia. Depth 20 kilometers. Again, very, very, very shallow. I can guarantee you that everybody in this area felt this. I'm going to zoom in here because this is where a very active volcano is located. And you can see that this earthquake, I'm going to go ahead and just bring up the satellite image. You could see this earthquake was just offshore. So you can guarantee that anybody in these regions, anybody on this island, they definitely felt it. I'm going to switch back to the map area. We're going to zoom right back into Puerto Rico. Now there's the small city area of Ponce that I was referring to earlier. You can see these earthquakes, magnitude 6.5, depth 10 kilometers. These are all, what I'm pointing to now, these are kind of repeater seismic devices that are located out in the ocean. So they're all giving their reading. So the earthquake was probably between a magnitude 6.4 and 6.6. USGS, I believe they've labeled it as a 6.4, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6.4. We're going to go ahead and jump over to here. Yeah, magnitude 6.4. That's what their initial reading is. And we could zoom in here, and you could see right where it's at. We'll go to an aerial map. And you can see this area over here of Ponce. This is a very, very heavily populated area. The majority of the population in Puerto Rico lives within 25 miles or less of the shoreline. So all of these folks, if you take a look at the shaker lines that you see right here, this shows you the amplitude of the shaking and who actually felt it. Well, if we back that off, and now you could see the whole entire island. The whole entire island felt this 6.5. I think there's probably going to be some significant damage, definitely within this coastal area. I would say definitely within this green line zone. And as you move further and further and further in, well, it's not going to be too good. As we move further in, you can see a very large community here, 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 all through this area. These are all neighborhoods. All of this. And you can see as the amplitude lines start to stretch out, this area of Ponce, wow, they are right in between heavy shaking. This area over here probably felt just a little bit more, But I think the whole entire island really, really got shook, if that's the right terminology. So we're going to go ahead and jump out of here. I'm going to dance over here real quick to Fox News. I'm going to see if they have that report up on their website. So bear with me 1 second. They just had it on the Fox News report at 5 a.m. Here it is here. But I don't know if they have the actual video where they show that rock land formation bridge that broke and fell into the ocean.
The splendor.
That's just the headlines. Let me see here. I guess this was a tweet. Oh, yeah, this is bad. Let's check this tweet out. This comes from I guess this is a I guess this is a girl. She calls herself Rob. She tweeted, destruction of what the 6.6 earthquake brought to the South Puerto Rico area. We are scared. Let's take a look at the photographs. Well, you can see right there, structures falling. That store, complete. Well, that's a complete loss. And you can see everything in Puerto Rico is normally built out of concrete block and stucco. It does not hold up to these heavy earthquakes. The same goes for all of the Caribbean islands. So they don't use a lot of wood because the salt air deteriorates and rots the wood. This structure, wow, that's a complete total loss right there. So you can see the destruction is starting to come in. People are starting to wake up, take pictures, and they're starting to tweet about it. What I was looking for that news brief about that land structure, that big, gigantic arch right on the beach that was completely destroyed. Oh man, it was on their early morning report. Maybe I can catch up with it later on and record it and show you guys. Damn. Now that we've gotten into the info on the Puerto Rican earthquake, I'll be keeping my eyes on that very, very closely. I'm going to jump over here real quick, folks. I'm going to pull up this my Google Earth map. Now, this is my Google Earth map and this program, and I have I have all of the earthquake data is automatically loaded into this program as it happens in real time. So it's kind of better than any other earthquake program out there because it is fast, accurate, and the information comes in real time. And we can zoom all the way in. Now, you can see right here in this huge deep trench area right here. This is another section near the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico where there is a lot of seismic activity on a daily basis. Small 2-3 magnitude earthquakes on a daily basis. Also, there's a lot of activity that occurs just about right here in this area where my cursor is, but it seems like the seismic activity has shifted westward. Now we're going to go ahead and zoom right in. Now, there's two more earthquakes that just went off. Magnitude 4.3 right here. Another one right here. One thing that this program does not do is it does not repeat earthquakes like the other website seismic program that we were looking at. This does not repeat earthquakes because all of this data is coming from the USGS. So these are their seismic devices planted all around this region. But you could see magnitude 5.0. I mean, there are so many earthquakes here. This is starting to remind me of the California incident out there at Ridgecrest last year when they had, 12,000 earthquakes recorded. Here is the magnitude 6.4. And you can see everything's in the orange and yellow, which is very, very intense. So as we zoom in, you can see there's a lot of activity there. For some reason or another, I don't think this activity is going to be over anytime soon. The reason being is we have this coronal mass ejection coming right at us. It should probably impact the Earth within the next 3 to 4 days. It all depends on the speed. The data is very fresh. They're not sharing the data in a timely fashion like they should. And they are hiding a lot of things. And I'm not making that up. They are literally hiding so much. It's ridiculous. And in today's time, that information should be made available instantaneously. So we're going to back off here. We're going to slide the Earth around. And we're going to zoom in here. Now, there was a 5.3. Now, initially, that earthquake there in Papua New Guinea, that came in as a magnitude 5.8. And now it's been knocked down to a 5.3. But that's definitely close enough to the shore where anybody in this region, they definitely would have felt that. Let's take a look at the earthquake over there in Indonesia. That was a magnitude 6.2. Definitely a shaker. Now, we can click on this. It will actually take us to the USGS. We can take a look. Get an aerial view. And you can definitely see. Now, I think this 6.2, the amplitude of this definitely reached the shore. No doubt about it. Oops, I accidentally exited out of my program here. I know there was an earthquake in Africa that was kind of odd. Magnitude 4.5. Yeah, that's kind of odd. There's really no seismic activity that occurs in that area, but as of lately, over the last few years, we've seen that activity consistently in Africa. But moving back to this earthquake. We'll take a look at this shaker map again. Just check the this impact. You know, they're not given too much. They're not given too much information on this Indonesia. earthquake. One thing I want to do here real quick. Bear with me. I want to check these heliplots real quick. We're going to take a look at these seismograms. Now we're looking at New Mexico. So you could see right here that that earthquake between the two earthquakes in Puerto Rico and Indonesia. I can guarantee you that those two earthquakes rang straight through the earth. So just about every single seismogram that we look at doesn't have to be associated with the United States, because when earthquakes like this happen, that energy literally passes right through the earth, and all of these seismograms pick it up. You can see here seismograms in Missouri, all the way up in Alaska. They're all feeling these earthquakes. Texas. Now, people on land aren't feeling it. They're not feeling the shaking, but the seismograms are sensitive enough where they will pick it up. Tucson, Arizona, completely black. I would probably say that that would be associated with the earthquake in Indonesia. But you can see all of these, Tennessee, Michigan, all of these seismograms around the United States have picked this up. I'm going to go ahead and back up here, and we are going to look at the GSN quakes or seismograms. Here's Barbados, Grenada, Turks and Caicos Islands, Cuba. A lot of these will be more associated with Puerto Rico. Jamaica, there's a huge spike. Dominican Republic, huge spike. Honduras and China. Who cares about China? Wow. At the Casey Station in Antarctica. Look at that spike. That's a pretty good distance away. Thailand, it picked it up. The other college outpost, Alaska, it picked that seismic activity up. The Philippines, this would be directly associated with the earthquake in Indonesia. Florida, that would definitely be associated with the quake in Puerto Rico. I'm just checking these out here real quick. Wow. I would say this is over in Russia, this seismogram. You could see the huge spike right here. That would be associated naturally with the Indonesia quake. Japan. Here's the Canary Islands. I don't even know what to make of that right there. That's just complete mayhem. So I don't even know. Poor Australia. Well, they felt that one. That was definitely associated with Indonesia. New Guinea. I just want to scroll through these real quick, folks. Just bear with me. Wow. Okay. Here's Puerto Rico. And this is very, very current. Wow. Look at that spike. Whew. And you could see here, well, actually all through these P waves and S waves, you can see that the seismic activity that was occurring with all of those swarms of earthquake, you can see that on the seismogram, for hours and hours and hours, it's been very, very consistent. We see a little bit of an elevation right here. That could have been a smaller quake, and then boom. Wow. So these seismograms will update. I believe it is every 30 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Incredible. Incredible. We're going to go ahead and jump out of here. And I want to show you guys something. This is the SEEDS website, and this is where I monitor the sun and a lot of the coronal mass ejections and things of that nature. Once again, each and every month, we get to this time of the month. And this just proves my point over and over and over and over again. Immediately on the 5th of January, oops, knocked my speaker over. Immediately on the 5th of January, no data. No data for yesterday and no data for today. No matter which way you slice the pie, even if you go back here and go here and you pull it up by the month, now it's even worse. The data ended on the 3rd. We have nothing. No data whatsoever. I just don't understand these people. Like, what are they doing? It's completely ridiculous. This website is run by George Mason University Space Lab Weather. They have direct access. They have direct access to this data coming from the sun. And I don't know why. Well, I do actually know why. In the beginning of the month, again, around this same time, and at the end of the month. It's like they hide the data because they know what's happening. And they know that people like myself and Mark are watching it. I know that may sound kind of self-centered, but I've been using this tool. Mark's been using this tool. We've been reporting on this for quite a long period of time. And there's no doubt they know. And it's not a matter of any of these spacecraft being shut down because they're in the line of fire from solar wind and blah, blah, blah. No. Because this data is available elsewhere, but we don't have access to it. We go over to SETI. They don't even have anything for January. Go to December. The last report was on the 12th. The 12th of December. We get nothing. And we had, just by chance, we had a very, very good Planet X capture with one of its buddies on December 30th. And I did a live stream about that. I showed everybody. I told you that we would have to wait to the very next day to get more data. And sure enough, I'm going to go ahead and bring up this photograph in case any of you didn't see it. I posted it, on our Facebook pages and our private network. This file's so big it takes a few seconds for it to completely load. There you go. So on the 30th of December, we caught that coronal mass ejection. Sure enough, we spotted that main object. And then lo and behold, just like I said, we have to wait till some of this data catches up. Sure enough, 24 hours later, I went back, checked the data, and sure enough, bingo. That is exactly what you're seeing on your screen. Now, there has only been a few occurrences in the last several years that we've been able to capture multiple objects at the same time. Last year, I think it was back in April or September. I'll have to pull the photograph up. But we caught 3 of them for the first time. And then now, we capture 2 of them. So, I've never discredited that there are multiple objects. I base my research and my investigation into this matter on observational evidence and proof, not a bunch of speculation. Okay? So what we're looking at right here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom this in a little bit. You can see the one main object here, smaller object right here. And they're very, very, very close to each other. Undeniable. That is no JPEG artifact. That's no anomaly. Those are 2 massive objects that are orbiting our sun, and they are bigger than any known object in our solar system. Period. Cut and dry, folks. And these are the reasons. These are the reasons why we are having all of these issues on this planet. This is the main reason why we have the uptick in earthquake activity, volcanic activity, and definitely one of the main reasons why we are seeing this very severe climate change. And it is going to continue. And as I've said before, I'll say it again, most of us will not live long enough to see the real big, widespread calamity that will occur on this planet. Your teenage children or smaller children, they will be the recipients of what is to come. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, the way my mind works is I'm intrigued by all of this, and I don't know, in a weird sense of a way, I would like to be around to see it all, to report on it. But then again, there's the other part of me that, man, I don't want to be around to see all of it. Because this may eventually involve just a whole hell of a lot of destruction worldwide. It's just the way that it is, folks. Do-do-do-do-do. Is there something else I wanted to show you guys? Oh. Do-do-do-do. We're going to jump into the CME tracker. The video that I did late last night, posted on the Planet X News YouTube channel. Just very, very short video, 2 minutes long. We're going to take a look at it. This is the CME tracker. This device, this tool, shows us the direction and amplitude of coronal mass ejections, which direction they're headed. And you can see right here, the little yellow ball represents the Earth. You can see the color-coded key right up here. It identifies the inner planets, Earth, Mars, Mercury, Venus, and it also signifies several of the space probes and satellites. You can see Earth right here, Sun in the center, and the little spiraling wheels that you see in the diagram, that signifies energy, the heavily charged particles spewing from the sun, solar wind. Here's the problem. When we get into this coronal mass ejection that occurred yesterday, we're going to get a double whammy, because this coronal mass ejection will arrive, if you look at the date right up here, the 11th. You can see the position where it's going to be on the 11th. That means on January 11th, the Earth is going to start to feel, well, probably before then, maybe around the 9th, 10th, but the hard impact will come on the 11th. That will be a direct hit. It's been a while. It's been a while since the Earth has had a direct hit from a coronal mass ejection. I still do not know how powerful this impact's going to be, because those people that run the information won't show it to us, which I think is just, man, that's just heartless. But that's the way it is, man. We're dealing with so much censorship, so much shadow banning, it's pathetic. But this is what we're going to be looking at. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into the actual diagrams, and we're going to look at the models. But first, I want you guys to take a look at this diagram that I drew up yesterday. I gave this to Mark over at Wages World for him to use in his video last night. Now, what you're looking at is the actual layout of the solar system, the inner solar system, as of January 6, 2020. So I just didn't go on the internet and pick out a picture and draw on it. Okay, no. I use another program that shows the exact positioning of every single planet in the solar system at a precise time. So this precise time is January 6th, yesterday. Here's the problem that I mentioned in the beginning of this live stream. For the next 90 days, and this happens about pretty close to 3 times throughout the year. And I've mentioned this before, and I guess a lot of folks that are new to looking into this matter, watching Planet X research, they get confused by watching other YouTube channels that give out false information. And we're going to get into that. You know I couldn't leave that one alone. But I'm going to try to explain this the best that I can. So get your thinking caps on. Crank your ears wide open. Okay? Now, the Earth is rotating and orbiting around the sun. Okay? The sun is basically stationary to an extent. This Planet X object and its little buddies, they are orbiting in a very eccentric and elliptical orbit, which means that orbit is very, very sharp and at a very sharp incline. I've mentioned this before. It's only taking approximately 28 days for these objects to make one complete cycle around the sun. You can believe what you want to believe, folks, but 4 years worth of data and research are proving me right each and every single time. Twice a month, we're going to see the impacts. Why? Because this object is coming upward past the ecliptic, making its way around the sun very sharply, maybe within 600,000 to 1,000,000 miles away from the sun. That's it. And then it makes a sharp turn and it comes right back down. Just like any other planetary object would be orbiting a star. Except this object is on a very, very sharp, eclectic, an ecliptic orbit. It drops way below the center part, the sun's equatorial region. It drops way below the equatorial plane and the orbital plane of Earth and all of the other planets. And then it makes its way right back up. So that's why twice a month, in the beginning of the month and towards the end of the month, that's why we're seeing the coronal mass ejections. That's why we're seeing the magnetosphere impacted by something other than solar wind. Because the solar wind at this time, folks, is not even a factor. It may be causing some beautiful aurora, but that's about it. What's happening to the Earth is twice a month, this object's magnetic field is getting close enough where it is affecting the Earth. And sooner or later, during this next 11-year cycle of the sun's solar minimum, this is what life is going to be like. However, each and every year, from this point on, it's going to get worse. Why? Because the Earth's magnetic field is being depleted. Every breath that you take on this Earth right now, the magnetic field is weakening. Why is it weakening? Because our magnetic field works off of the sun's magnetic field. As the sun's magnetic field is basically drained, ours is drained. So therefore, even mild bouts of solar wind are going to create problems here on Earth. You want to know why they're chemtrailing like crazy around the world? You know, folks, it's not to hide objects in the clouds, because that just doesn't exist. I'm sorry to disappoint some Debbie Downers and some Donnie Downers, but there's no planets in the clouds. If there was, we'd all be dead. The reason for the aerosol injections, as they like to call them, is because they are trying to bounce back the radiation that is just literally consuming the Earth. It's all coming from space. It's all coming from the sun. All of those heavily charged particles are making their way through. More now than ever. Some of the main reasons for the climate change and the heating up of the planet is due to the chemtrailing. Why is that? It's because all of that chemtrailing is keeping all of the heat in. It's not allowing it to escape like it would if we had clear skies around the world. That heat would be able to escape, but it's not. And the chemtrailing that they're doing and all of these wildfires that we see out in California, that we see in Australia, and I feel so bad for for all of the people and all of the animals, the whole entire ecosystem in Australia is destroyed. I mentioned this 3 months ago before any of that even happened. I said once again, Australia is going to be destroyed. People ridiculed me. They called me names. They trolled me on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Told me I was full of it. What do you got to say now? 500 million animals are gone. Species could possibly even become extinct, let alone the death and destruction of the people, the human beings. And there's no end in sight. And here's what makes me mad. Governments could end these fires on day one. On day one. Just like they used the technique back in the Vietnam War to flood out the Vietnamese in the jungles by cloud seeding, making it rain. Oh, wow. Einstein moment. Water puts out fire. But see, folks, there's a different agenda. And that agenda is to clean out the state of California. And I believe that they are trying to clean out Australia. For whatever reason, I don't know. I just don't know for sure. I can't just blurt out a bunch of conspiracies because I just don't know. What I do know is that for the last 4 years, this has been happening with consistency. California, Australia. California, Australia. Why? Eventually, we're going to find out. But my heart goes out to all of the people in Australia. I have a lot of subscribers there. I've become friends with a lot of people in Australia. You know, and I'm an animal lover too, man, and it just breaks my heart to see all of those animals and in their demise and the people that have died. It's awful. Awful. Sorry I get kind of worked up about that, but it really, really gets to me. And I tried to warn people 3 months before it even happened. Nobody said a word. I got ridiculed more than anything. And now, there's no end in sight. It's very disturbing. Anyways, getting back to what we were talking about here with this planetary setup with the Earth, the Sun, and this damn object. This object has a set orbital pattern, okay? It's not going to change. It's not going to make any type of Nibiru breakaway speed and crash into the Earth like Nancy Leader and some of these other bozos talk about. That is not going to happen. The gravity of the sun is just too damn strong. Once the sun takes gravitational hold of a planet or an object like this, that's it. It's where it's at for all eternity. Okay? So it's not going anywhere. And you know, folks, somewhere down the line, this may be the demise of the Earth. But not just yet. So, as the Earth rotates around the sun, there are about 3 points in a calendar year where we're going to see 3 months of very serious upticks in seismic activity, volcanic activity, and very sharp impacts to the magnetosphere. Why is that? Well, January is one of those months. I mentioned that to Mark quite a while ago. And I said, look, buddy, you think things are getting active right now. Wait till the cycle starts again in January. Because in January, if you look at the diagram right here, we are in direct alignment as this object orbits the sun. Meaning, as the object comes upward, starts to loop around the sun, it is now looping around what should be the back part of the sun, but because where we are at in the calendar year, we are now facing it. And no, folks, we're not going to see this object from Earth eclipsing the sun. I get that question all the time. Scott, why can't we see it from Earth? Well, let's just put it this way. The sun is 865,000 miles in diameter. It produces a massive amount of light. If you take an object the size of this object, which is possibly 5 times the size of Jupiter, and as close as it is to the sun, which should be at its closest point about 750,000 miles at its closest point, if you put an object in front of light, up against it, is it going to eclipse the light? Based on the size of the sun, based on the size of that object, does it have the opportunity to eclipse the sun? The answer is no, because the object is too close to the sun. Now, case in point, why do we have eclipses with the moon? Well, take into consideration that the moon is about 3,200 miles or something like that, 3,600 miles in diameter. It's tidally locked with the Earth, and it's 238,000 miles away from the Earth. So optically, it can eclipse the sun. But if you put the moon all the way out into space closer to the sun, you wouldn't see the eclipse, would you? I hope all of you can get your gears going and understand what I'm talking about. So you could do a little experiment with a flashlight. Face the flashlight at the wall. Go get a marble. Go get a little tiny marble or golf ball. Well, golf ball would be too big. I don't know, something small enough to represent a planet. Put that object right up against the light, right up against it, or maybe a 1/4 inch away from it. Is that little marble going to eclipse the flashlight? No, it will not. The light will bend around it. That is truly why we don't see eclipses. So whenever I got all of these people chattering in the live chat and chattering in the comments section, telling me that I'm wrong, why don't we see it from Earth? Why don't we see it eclipsing the sun? That is why. Now, if you move that object to the point where Venus is, well, now that would truly be a whole nother ball game, folks. Because there would be no way in hell that the government or any system that they have in space would be able to prevent us from seeing those eclipses every single month. And then everybody on Earth would be freaking the fuck out. But see, that's not the case. This object is very, very close to the sun. I've shown you video of this object passing through the sun's corona. It would have to be anywhere within 500,000 to 750,000 miles away from the Earth or the sun at its closest point. Little planet Mercury is 48 million miles from the sun. 48 million miles. Now, if little Mercury was the size of Venus, guess what? Guess what? We would see eclipses frequently, but that's not the case. Sorry I'm getting all amped up about this, folks, but I've been wanting to explain this to a lot of you for a long period of time. I hope everybody gets it. If you don't agree with me, then I think you need to go do your homework, go do your research, go do some experiments, and after you do, you'll see that what I'm saying is spot on. That's why we don't see these eclipses, is because this object's too damn close to the light source. And it would take an object probably, I would say an object at least a third of the size of the sun to create an eclipse being that close. And we may or may not even notice it. It all depends. It all depends in positioning, timing, and how fast that object is orbiting the sun. See, that's the thing. If this object was in a very, very, very slow orbital path, let's say, for instance, that this orbital path wasn't 28 days, which is pretty damn fast. Let's say it was in a 100-day orbit around the sun. Now, that would mean that it would stick between the sun and the Earth for a longer period of time. Would we possibly see something in the form of an eclipse? I doubt it, but I think that we would probably maybe notice something on several of the instruments that we use. And I also think that astronomers that study the sun with Earth-based telescopes at observatories, they would definitely see it. They would definitely see it. No doubt about it. But that is why we don't see the Planet X eclipse. I wish we would, because then all of this information would become mainstream, because you couldn't hide it. But see, it's hiding itself. The object obviously does not give off any form of light. And it's also probably so damn dense that it doesn't reflect light like planets do. There's a high possibility that it may even absorb light. I don't know. We still do not know what the composition of this object is. That is still nothing more than a hypothesis, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here. I'm going to make this this graph that I drew. I'm going to put it on the Planet X News Facebook pages. You guys are more than happy to check it out. I'm going to continue to track this monster. Do-do-do-do. Let me get out of here. I tend to get pretty uppity, don't I? Oh, shit. Bear with me. We are going to take a look at high definition, baby. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And then I'm going to show you guys this coronal mass ejection. I'm going to show you the timing, when it's going to impact the Earth. I'm going to show you the 1-2 punch that the Earth is going to go through. We're going to take a look at a few more instruments, and we're going to call it a day, because I do believe this is going to be a day where there's going to be a lot to report on. Let me check out the live chat here real quick. Let me see if there's anybody in there talking trash. I hope what I was trying to explain to you guys, I hope it made sense. I don't know, folks. Over the years, I don't know. I've just developed a way of seeing things just in a natural way. I don't know, man. Maybe call it the third eye. I don't know. I kind of know when these things are going to happen. And I wake up from a dead sleep just as they've happened. So, as that big earthquake hit Puerto Rico, I was sound asleep. But something shook me, woke me up, and I was at my computer exactly 61 minutes after that earthquake struck Puerto Rico. And that has been occurring for the last 5 years. Doesn't matter what catastrophe happens, something's waking me up. Maybe my third eye starts blinking and it wakes me up. Who knows? This is the video that I posted yesterday, and this is going to show you. Now, this is the actual model here. Follow my cursor. Here's the sun right in the middle. Here is the Earth in yellow. You're going to see the coronal mass ejection that occurred. Excuse me. You're going to see the wave of energy come towards the Earth. And that impact is going to occur just about on the 11th. We may start to see an uptick in impacts on the magnetosphere, our magnetic field, and we may start to see some pretty severe impacts as far as seismic activity and volcanic activity. Let me stop this for 1 second. Right up here in the top left-hand corner, as soon as I start the player, the title for the video will move away. You can see the date as it progresses. If you watch it carefully, you'll see that impact coming in will be right in front of the Earth just about on the 11th of January. But then, 24 hours later, high-speed solar wind, well, it may not be high speed, but solar wind is going to be coming right behind it. And you're going to see the double impact on the 11th and 12th of January. We may be talking about this situation for the second half of the month, because this may do some serious damage, but that's yet to be seen. We could only speculate. We could only go by what the models are showing us. But it is that time of the month. Just like I say, twice a month on this damn YouTube channel, people better start listening to me. Because if you truly want to learn, then you've got to learn the right way. I'm not patting myself on the back. Sorry if I'm being, some guy with a big ego, but it is what it is, folks. I'm not here to bullshit you. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm here to show you, teach you what is happening, and I'm here to show you the evidence. I can't sugarcoat this stuff. I'm not here like, other YouTubers. Oh, I love you, man. Oh, I love all of you. Yeah. Love ain't going to get you anywhere in situations like this. Let's move on. Watch it very carefully. You're going to see the coronal mass ejection. Boom. And then that green band. Let's go back to that. That green band that you see right after the coronal mass ejection, it is literally blending in with solar wind. That's crazy. I've never seen that before, but times are changing. The dynamics of the sun are changing. The dynamics of the earth is changing. Everything's changing at a very, very rapid pace. I'm going to stop this for just 1 second. This is the stereo ahead Core 2 coronagraph. This spacecraft is not facing the Earth. This spacecraft is off to the left of the Earth. So what you're looking at here is the camera view from stereo A, and going out that way is the Earth. That is the direction that this coronal mass ejection is heading. And this will be a direct hit. There is no doubt about it. I've slowed it down a little bit. Now, I'm sorry for the pixelization, but when these coronal mass ejections start to occur like this, all of these other charged particles are hitting the detectors on these coronagraphs. And these damn spacecraft, they're so freaking old. They've been out there for a very, very long time. When you see those pixelizations and those little flashes, that is literally interference from the protons and electrons just bouncing off of these detectors, and it causes interference. Just like your old televisions that you used to use the rabbit ears. And you had to tune them in, and you get all that static. Well, that's kind of what you're seeing there. And the flashing, it's just the particles that are hitting the detectors, and it's causing that flashing. And that coronal mass ejection there, folks, that bad boy's heading right towards the Earth. Now, I don't think it's going to cause any kind of Carrington effect, but then again, you never know. We'll have to wait and see. Data's going to be pouring in over the next 72 hours, and we'll see where we go with it. I went to see if there were updates on the cactus. Not yet. Maybe within the next 6 to 12 hours, we may get some extra data off of that. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here. I'm going to bring up the tracker now. Let me bring it up a little bit bigger. Can I get it bigger? So there's your time right up there in the upper left-hand corner. This is live right now. What I wanted to see is if there was any update on this CME tracker, and apparently just in the last 6 hours there is no update. Everything is right on schedule. So you can see I can't stop. There's no stop and play buttons on this model, so I can't stop it. But this green, as you see here, that green spiral right there, you see that impacting the Earth, blending in, literally blending in right behind this coronal mass ejection. That's a batch of solar wind. That's a batch of heavily charged particles spewing from coronal hole openings in the sun. We're going to take a look at those. And that's blending in. That's why I was saying that this is going to be a 1-2 punch, man. And we don't see that. We don't see that all the time. It's kind of rare. It's a very rare occurrence that we see this. And damn, it's right in the beginning of the year. So aren't we starting off January 2020 with a freaking bang? But I knew it was coming because each and every year, as I've been tracking this and putting together this 28-day model, it is, in my eyes, it is untouchable. We can actually chart this like clockwork. And those are going to be two hard impacts. Taking into consideration the Earth's magnetic field is at a weak state. So that means that all of that energy, a good portion of it, is not going to bounce off of our magnetic field. It's going to suck right through it. And what happens when that happens? Well, that makes its way all the way through our ionosphere, atmosphere, right down into the Earth, and then bingo. Those little particles, they're going to be bouncing and smashing off of each other and a ton of energy. And what's going to happen? We're going to start to see increased pressure internally in the Earth. And what does that cause? That causes an increase in seismic activity, which may result in larger catastrophic earthquakes. And we may see a lot of volcanoes start to rupture and spew lava. So for you guys that follow volcanic activity, for the next 10 days, keep your eyes on volcanic activity. For all of you that follow seismic activity, keep your eyes on the earthquakes because it's going to happen. There ain't no doubt about it. It's kind of a rare occurrence, but like I said, folks, I knew that I wasn't counting on the coronal mass ejection. I figured that we would have something, but I didn't think it was going to be Earth-facing. Now, that coronal mass ejection, possibly, I'm pretty sure that came from that small sunspot that was rotating towards us, that was far below the equatorial region of the sun. And you could see it's going to blast us, man. And whatever happens, happens. I'm going to jump out of here real quick. We're going to go over to NOAA space weather. We're going to let this load. And this is kind of a forecast model here. This is going to take us out. I'm going to go ahead and use the slider here because it's a lot easier. I'm going to bring this back. So here's this yellow line right here. That takes us back halfway between January 5th and January 6th. You could see a small little blob of solar wind coming in. Nothing really to be worried about. And as we move to the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th. Now the model is starting to pick up the coronal mass ejection right there. Now remember, folks, this tool here is a predictor model. It's predicting the direction of solar wind and the direction, or excuse me, the prediction and direction of that coronal mass ejection. Now, on this model, you cannot distinguish between a coronal mass ejection and solar wind. It just doesn't work that way. But because we know that there was a coronal mass ejection, we can start to look for it. So it starts to register. All of this will probably update, maybe within the next 4 to 6 to 8 hours. And all of this is going to change. And I'll be on top of it. I'll be on it like white on rice. You can guarantee that. So as we start to move out, watch the yellow line. We're at the 10th. That coronal mass ejection is just about halfway, according to this model right now. But that is going to change. I'm telling you, that's going to change. So as we move closer and closer, we get to the 11th. Now the predictor model still has it far away from the Earth. However, the CME tracker model, the one in white that we just looked at, that is using real up-to-date, real-time data. So that's why I was saying that coronal mass ejection is showing on that model that it is going to impact the Earth on the 11th. And then right behind it, blended in, is that swath of solar wind. That's going to give us that 1-2 punch. And if we move it out a little bit further, it won't go past halfway through January 12th. So you can see, according to this predictor model, just about halfway through on the 12th, that coronal mass ejection energy is, probably about maybe 10, 20 million miles away from the Earth. It's hard to judge that. But again, this is going to update probably within the next 4 to 6 hours, maybe 8 hours. We'll see how it goes. And we could go ahead and take a look. I'm going to take a look real quick at the ISWA site. We're going to check out the Magnetosphere models real quick. Hopefully they're not shut down. Good, they're not. And we'll see if the Earth is feeling any of this now. Then we're going to take a quick look at the SDO. We're going to go ahead and set this up. And we'll see if we see any impacts now. I doubt that we will, but you never know. We may see some fluctuations in the magnetic field. Definitely looks like it is a little contorted. I'll be watching this very closely too for probably the next week. See, it doesn't look like there's much on the Magnetosphere model. Let's check out the solar wind model real quick. Let's set it up. We'll go back in time just a little bit. And let that set up. Over here to the far right, you'll see the solar wind speed. Relatively normal at this point. Anything between 300 to 500 would be, kind of normal. Everything seems to be pretty much normal right now, slightly elevated. In the yellow, you could see the small color key graph here, lower right-hand corner. The radiation belt around the Earth is quite illuminated. So as of right now, solar wind, slightly elevated. Now, let's take a look at the Earth's magnetic field and the magnetopause. We might see some different things on here. Let's go ahead and take it back in time. And let's let that set up and let's see what we see. Everything looks fairly normal, somewhat. Interplanetary magnetic field lines coming from the sun, broken. The polar cap, the black lines, they're pretty much where they're supposed to be at some points. You could see those black lines kind of reaching out, and that's all due to the incoming solar wind, and they are feeling the effects of another magnetic field besides the sun. So again, not much data coming in just yet. But I can guarantee you this much. Probably sometime today and going through the rest of this week, there's going to be a lot to talk about, no doubt. You can see in this model here, the bow shock right here. And this is a side model, so you're looking at the Earth from the side. The sun would be off in this direction. If you look at the little black and white ball in the center where my cursor is, that signifies the daytime side of the Earth, and the black is the nighttime side. Everything you see in blue flowing behind the Earth is referred to the plasma sheath. And it's just a load of low-density plasma that flows behind the Earth due to the magnetic field. I mean, it's all relatively low density. It's kind of where it should be. What I really pay attention to at this point in time, folks, are those black lines. The polar cap magnetic field lines. You could see them start to reach. When they start to reach out in front of the Earth on this model, that is a telltale sign that they're reacting to another magnetic field. Okay? What you see now, let me just stop this. What you see on your screen right now, that is pretty much normal. The polar cap lines, the black lines, nice and smooth. Behind the dark side, the nighttime side of the Earth, the blue represents the plasma sheath. Pretty much where it should be, low density. The bow shock, not that heavily illuminated, which is a sign that it's not being impacted by all of those heavily charged particles. But that all changes. When you start to see those polar cap lines, the black ones, which are coming out of the North Pole and the South Pole, when you start to see those reaching forward or reaching all over the place in a complete jumbled mess, that's a telltale sign that another magnetic field is interacting with the Earth's. This time around, it's a combination of the sun and our object. There's no ands, ifs, buts about it. The sun's magnetic field is weakening. But during 2 periods of every month, that Planet X object is in the position where its magnetic field is reaching the Earth. Now, not all of it. Its magnetic field is probably very strong, but not stronger than the sun's. And the sun's magnetic field reaches far beyond the edges of our solar system. Because of the very acute angle that this object is orbiting around the sun, that's why its magnetic field is not affecting the Earth 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like the sun's does. That's why twice a month we see the contortions and the impacts to our magnetic field here on Earth. That's why twice a month we see a coronal mass ejection right on time. That's why twice a month we see the uptick in the seismic activity, earthquakes, and the volcanic activity twice a month. I think we're on it, man. I think we're on it like Blue Bonnet. No doubt about it. I'm going to take one quick look at the radiation belt. And let's see what's brewing there. Let's see how hot that sucker is. Let's go back in time a little bit here. Let's see what we got. Relatively normal. Everything's green. We see some fluctuations coming in. You could see that signified by the red. Woo! And there we go. Now, I'm just going to stop that right there. Whenever you start to see these situations like this, where a lot of those electrons are literally being sucked back in onto the nighttime side of the Earth, I can guarantee you on the 5th, which is the time frame right up there, you can go back and you can check your earthquake maps for the 5th, and I can guarantee you you'll see some spikes in earthquake activity well over a magnitude 5. As we go a little bit further, you can see more of these electrons starting to move in, and they seem to dissipate very quickly. But again, that is enough. That is enough at this point in time to induce seismic activity and one hell of an aurora show in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, but mainly because of the Earth's tilt right now, it would be in the northern hemisphere. And the people in Norway, Finland, Canada, Greenland, Iceland, woo, baby, they are getting one hell of a spectacular show of aurora. I mean, it's like you are in some kind of freaking space movie. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see, but at the same time, it's something that we really don't want to see. So as we move into the 6th, you see right here that big squiggly line back there? Well, that's not supposed to be like that. And on the 6th, what did we see? We started to see upticks in earthquake activity all around Puerto Rico. And then they had that magnitude 5.8, which caused some destruction. Now we're here on the 7th. Still some electrons coming in, circling around the Earth. That's kind of a weird patch right there. Still very, very moderate. Yeah. So this is all going to be changing, folks. I could guarantee you probably within the next, maybe the next day or so, this model that we're looking at right here, you'll see this whole entire arch area. You'll probably see all of that completely red. We've seen that before. But when that does happen, that's going to be bad news as far as the subsequent earthquake activity. No doubt about it. I'm hoping that we don't see anything pop up like we did a few weeks ago in the Cascadia subduction zone and the Juan de Fuca faults out there on the west coast of the United States and the west coast of Canada. That's a very, very dangerous area. And I hope that none of us ever live to see that baby go off, because if something truly does happen out there in the Cascadia and Juan de Fuca fault zones, it's going to be a sad, sad day for a couple of those states, namely the state of Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, but mainly the cities of Vancouver and Seattle, Washington. Will never be the same if that happens. No doubt about it. And I'm sure you all know about that. I want to take one more quick look at the earthquake situation, see if anything else has popped off while I was over here flapping my gums. Nothing as of yet. Another magnitude 4.4. Something's going on in this area here. It's really hard to say what is really causing this disturbance right here. I don't know. Other than there's a lot of pressure built up there, and it's releasing. And it's releasing in the form of these earthquakes. Yeah. Interesting. Check this out. Let's pick this one here. Okay, check it out, folks. Look, I've over the last couple of days, my email and my Facebook inboxes on Planet X News, my public figure page, has been absolutely lit up like a firecracker on the 4th of July, because all of you keep watching WSO, Steve Olson, and his two crackpot friends, the Partridge Family bus guy Maverick, and Dave Dobbs. And you all keep asking me about this Dave Dobbs object. Well, I'll tell you what. Because all of you are sending me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails asking me about it, I'm going to have to put these guys on blast. Because there is no such thing as the Dave Dobbs object. The Dave Dobbs object, as they like to call it idiotically, is nothing more than photographs of an illuminated contrail or an illuminated chemtrail. That's it. Period. Now, these three stooges, over the last week, have done several videos and live streams, and they keep telling people that this Dave Dobbs object is, a Nibiru or a Planet X object cruising through the Earth's upper atmosphere. Look, folks, you guys are all free to believe in whatever you want to believe in. But there is no such thing as the Dave Dobbs object. It's all a hoax. It's all a complete fraud. It's been proven time and time and time again. I believe it was yesterday or the day before. These three stooges were going on and on and on and on about a video that was produced by this woman that goes by the name of Linda Miller. Linda Miller filmed the back end of an airplane illuminated by the sun as the sun was going down or coming up. You get the backlit chemtrail or contrail. Folks, here's the deal, okay? I'm just going to be forthright with all of you, okay? Take my honesty for what it is. If there really was a Dave Dobbs object cruising through the Earth's atmosphere, what do you think would really happen? I mean, honestly, think about it. But yet, these three stooges literally have tens of thousands of people completely brainwashed, thinking that these airplanes with illuminated contrails are really planetary objects in our atmosphere. It's a complete lie. 100%. And Dave Dobbs and Steve Olson and the Magic Mushroom Maverick, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves for lying to the people that rely on you for credible information, which none of you have. None of you have a drop of credible information. You should be thrown off of YouTube. All three of you should bury your asses in the sand and never, ever spew the garbage out there that you do to people who actually rely on you for credible information, real information. Period. That is absolutely pathetic. And for all of you that do not like me, oh, don't talk about other people. Hey, listen, I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails every single week of people complaining and wondering what these three bozos are talking about. Some of them are legitimately scared about the nonsense that these three stooges are spewing out, because there is not one single ounce of credibility to anything that these three stooges are talking about. It is complete 100% nonsense, and they are lying right to your faces. And then there are some of you that just love them. Oh, I just love them. Because they literally have you brainwashed. And if you are one of those brainwashed people and you want to take a walk onto the real side of reality, you stick around here. You want to continue to watch their garbage? You go right ahead. But do not email me and ask me about their dumb videos, because they are complete 100% nonsense. Now, Let me show y'all something. Do-do-do-do. Oh, where are those pictures at? Do-do-do-do. January 1st. A gentleman in Vero Beach, who I am now friends with, and we actually had a pretty lengthy conversation on Facebook. He was on Vero Beach, Florida. I'm very, very familiar with Vero Beach. I have a very good friend of mine, Elvin, that lives there. I've been to Vero Beach, I don't know, probably 30, 40 times in my life in South Florida. And I'd travel up to see Elvin, maybe like about 3-4 times a month, spend the weekend, and, we'd get crazy and do some bar hopping and club hopping. But Vero Beach, very, very beautiful area. And kind of one of the things that everybody does on New Year's Day is they head over to the beach and they watch these absolutely beautiful burning sunrises. And on New Year's Day, 2020, there were about 1,000 people on the beach. And this gentleman by the name of John happened to notice something way, way off in the distance, out there in the ocean, right just a little bit above the horizon. And the object was slowly moving up. And it actually looked like it came out of the ocean. And, it just happens to be that John is an astronomer. Yeah. So he busted out his camera and he started videotaping and taking some photographs. And at first, he thought that this was an actual missile launch from a submarine, a Trident missile. I did a short video on it based on John's information. It was all over the news. All over the news. Vero Beach news stations, West Palm Beach, Miami, made national news. It made news everywhere. I actually had contacted John about 4 hours after he took all of these photographs and was on the news. I actually thought he was right when he said that might have been a test missile launch from a submarine of one of these Trident missiles. I looked into the Trident missile. There were a lot of similarities. I took some still photographs. I took John's photographs, ran them through my high definition video programs, and lo and behold, came up with some absolutely spectacular still photographs of that object. And even though it was way, way off in the horizon, just above the horizon, I was able to fine-tune the photographs. And you have a look at one of the photographs right there on your screen right now. And one of the main reasons why we thought it was an actual missile launch is because whenever you take a look at this object, and because the position that it was in, it kind of looks like a missile. It really does. You can't see the wings if it was an airplane. So, John has studied this stuff for a long, long time. But because of the distance and the quality of the photograph, he wasn't sure. And after we got in touch with each other, had a long, long conversation on Facebook, inbox, messenger, I cleared up all the photographs, sent them back to him, and he reviewed them. And then, all of a sudden, a few hours later, the government, the United States government sent in their retired debunker, who was some retired flunky from the, I forget what his title was, I forget what his title was, but he was retired from the military. Just so happens, well, he happened to pop in there later on in the day, and he got an interview going with one of the local news stations. And he says, oh, okay, oh, that's nothing more than an illuminated contrail of an airplane, which could have possibly been. Yeah. Here's a closer look at it. And that's about as zoomed in as we can possibly get without it really pixelating. But I, like I said, created all of these photographs into a higher definition. To me, it looked like a damn UFO. But the majority of UFOs, I don't think they're going to be leaving an illuminated contrail like that. Later on, the mouthpiece for the government came out with the Pentagon. The United States Pentagon came out and issued a statement because news stations were contacting them wanting to know what the hell that was. Well, lo and behold, the Pentagon said, and they usually don't comment on things like that, nor do they even issue a damn statement, but they said that it was nothing more than an illuminated contrail from a fighter plane. Yeah. F-18 Hornet. Yeah. So I talked to John about it, and he said, yeah, there's a high possibility. Yeah. John had looked into a no-fly zone over that area that day and the day before. Now remember, Cape Canaveral is right up the road from Vero Beach. This is all in the same area where they blast off rockets. So anything at any time could have been going on out there in that ocean. But there was a no-fly zone issued by the United States military. They were doing some exercises out there bright and early in the morning. I went back to the flight path program that shows all of the airplanes in the air in real time. I looked at that precise day. There were no passenger or private airplanes in that area of the Atlantic Ocean off of the coast of Vero Beach, Florida on New Year's Day. The reason being is because there was a no-fly zone area issued by the United States government. But you know what? The Three Stooges jumped on the opportunity an hour after I put my video up, and Mr. Olson and Davy Dobbs and the Magic Maverick Man, they all claimed that it was the Dobbs object, and that Dave Dobbs called it. Ladies and gentlemen, this was nothing more than the illuminated contrail of an F-18 Hornet fighter plane. That's it. It was not the Dave Dobbs object. It was not a passenger airplane. It was, now that I know, it was not a Trident missile launch. And it wasn't a UFO. It was an F-18 Hornet in a steady climb and on afterburner. Yeah. But these other guys lied to you, all of you that watched their garbage, and they told you that it was the Dave Dobbs object, a planetary space object in our atmosphere. Pretty pathetic. Especially when we're all striving to find out the truth, We have so many people out there like them that don't tell the truth. Maybe they're not educated enough on the subject matter. Maybe they don't do enough homework. So here's my thoughts. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you don't know what the hell you're talking about, then you shouldn't be making these kinds of videos to inform people. Because, number one, you're scaring some people, especially when you tell them that there are objects as big as planets or comets zipping through the Earth's upper atmosphere. I think it's complete nonsense. And look, and for any of you that keep on blabbing and flapping your gums saying that, oh, I shouldn't talk about people. Well, hey, listen, folks, stop flapping your gums and stop saying that, because I'm in the business of truth and research. This is what I do. Period. And for all of you that send me the emails that ask me to look at their videos and tell you if they're telling the truth, then don't get mad at me when I tell you the truth. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Oh, shit. That's the way that it is, folks. Yeah, that's exactly what that was. That was nothing more than an illuminated contrail. It was pretty. It was spectacular. And the Dave Dobbs object does not exist. It's a freaking fairy tale. Now, I'm going to show you. Doobie-doobie-doo. Here's a list of the last couple of videos that the Three Stooges entered into. Here's the latest one, less than 24 hours ago. Do the Dobbs objects bring conflict? A closer look at whatever. I don't even understand that title. Do the Dobbs objects, whatever. 3 days ago, Dobbs object or airplane. Aeroplane. And this is when they're talking about this video and real shaky video footage that this woman, Linda Miller, took of an illuminated contrail. And it does look kind of weird because it's got all of these little sparkly things in the back. But it's nothing more than the light reflections off of the aluminum body of an airplane. And the contrails are illuminated and backlit by the setting or rising sun. So it's not the Dave Dobbs object in the sky, because it doesn't exist. The guy's a complete liar. And he's running a scam and a sham on each and every one of you. And instead of being mad at me, you should be mad at them. You should be calling them out. They should know better. But they don't. And nor do they care. Because if they cared, they wouldn't lie to you. Simple as that. They just wouldn't lie to you. I think that's pretty messed up. Yeah. And a lot of you wanted me to go watch this video of this Linda Miller. After watching, I think, 3 or 4 minutes of Steve Olson and the magic Maverick man in his partridge bus, and Dave Doolittle Dobbs flapping his gums about all kinds of things that he has no idea about. I got very, very sick in my stomach, and it caused me to have a seizure. Shit. I'm joking about the seizure thing, but I can't watch too much. I can't watch too much of their garbage, folks. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, for all of you that, say that I don't watch the live chat, and if you have some questions, I never pay attention to you. That's because I'm always enthralled in, presenting the information and doing my thing here. So, I have the live chat up right now on the screen. And for the next couple of minutes, I'll check out some of your questions. And if any of you do have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them as I have my last few sips of coffee. Who has a question? Let's read. Kevin Shiner, WSO, more content, less shit talking. Oh, shit. Okay, I guess nobody has questions. No, somebody asked if that was a missile. No, it turned out to be an F-18 Hornet. Like I said, they were running some, I guess, some little war games out there in the ocean, and there was a no-fly zone. Later on, confirmed that it was an F-18, full-blown afterburner and climbing. And it was very, very early in the morning. Sun was rising. Beautiful burning sunrise on New Year's Day. That's what it was. Wasn't the Dave Dobbs object. What do I think of Mr. MBB333 and the Leak Project? Well, I love Mr. MBB. He's a fantastic guy, good researcher. He has a lot of great content coming in from people that are seeing some amazing things in the sky. And he goes at it trying to figure it out. One thing that you could always guarantee about Mr. MB is he's not going to lie to you. He's going to tell you straight up every single time whether he knows what it is or he doesn't know what it is. He's just a messenger showing these very, very strange anomalies, UFOs, very, very strange cloud structures, which I agree, there's definitely something weird going on there. The Leak Project, look, man, I had my roll-arounds with, what the hell's his name? I forget his name. But did an interview with him long time ago. He turned out to be a backstabber. And Rex Bear, that's his name, Rex Bear. I have no respect for Rex Bear, nor do I watch any of his YouTube videos. I think, he's just a thrill seeker looking for views. Every now and then he does have an interesting character on there to interview, but that's that. Let's see. Anybody else? Jedi Skywalker. Yeah, I like your comment. Shift talking. Adam Shifty Shift. Question, do you think chemtrails have anything to do with Project Bluebeam? No, not at all. Not at all. I think over a large, considerable amount of time, I've been researching chemtrails since about 2005. And I really couldn't put my finger on chemtrails till about 2015. And in 2016, I did an interview with a local chemtrail pilot here in the city of Pittsburgh. He was actually dying. He had been a retired airline pilot and Air Force pilot. And when he retired a year later, he said to his wife, he goes, I really miss my job. And a friend of his who was also an airline pilot who also retired, this guy got a job working for a geoengineering company as a pilot flying chemtrail routes here over the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. And he took the job and worked as a chemtrail pilot here in the city of Pittsburgh. And 5 years later, he was dead. He died on Christmas Eve, 2016, and of cancer, multiple cancers. They had already removed his tongue, half of his jaw. He had big, gigantic open sores all over his body. And I think at that time, he was being exposed to some of the chemicals that they were using in the apparatus that is in those planes. I think now they are using more military planes than the converted passenger planes. So there is still a lot of evidence that needs to be uncovered about what they're doing. But there's no doubt in my mind that, yes, chemtrails exist. That is not even an argument. I think the reason why they do it is to block out and bounce a lot of the radiation that's coming in back out into the atmosphere. Some of it is also used as a military purpose to cloud areas over military bases and installations, so spy satellite cameras can't see downward. There's a lot of applications for this crap, folks, but they're going to continue to do it. There's a lot of speculation they're using nanotechnology in this crap. More and more people around the world are having very, very severe breathing problems. There's no doubt about that. They're going to continue to do it. And there's really nothing that we can do about it, but people have to become more vocal. And I wish the hell they would stop it, because the chemtrailing is trapping large portions of heat. That's trapping the heat in and onto the earth. It cannot escape. And the chemtrailing is one of the leading factors to this climate change. If you just think about it, if you trap all of that heat, what's going to occur? Well, you're going to have larger storms, larger hurricanes. Look at the temperatures here in my area in Pittsburgh. We're 30 degrees above normal with our temperatures. The day after Christmas, it was 62 degrees. 4 years in a row. So there's a lot of different applications for the chemtrailing. What these bozos should have been doing is they should have been cloud seeding and putting out the fires in California and around the world and Australia. But like I said in the beginning, folks, they have an agenda for this. What they want to do with California by burning everybody out, I don't know. What their agenda is for the country of Australia by burning everybody out, I don't know. But it's obviously evil. It's obviously meant to get rid of the people and their property. Is what it is. You know? Any more questions? You know, folks, I'm going to touch on another subject here real quick. well, just over the course of the last 3 months, the social media giants, oh man, they really took a toll on me. Maybe some of you do know, maybe some of you don't know. I also have a news website, and I do news articles. Well, now they're all mainly revolving around the freaking crazy, insane politics in this country, and I work with a group of people, and we started USA Headline News about 2 years ago, and the website's fantastic. The Facebook page is fantastic. I became a Fox affiliate in 2018, and got all my press credentials and all that stuff back in 2018. And I enthralled myself into the political world here in this country, all to draw more attention to let's finding the truth. And it doesn't matter if you like Trump or you don't like Trump, but the bottom line is there's a lot of evil things going on in this country right now, and there's a lot of evil things going on in a lot of other countries. And I wanted to get to the bottom of it, so I created the news organization, and everything was going very, 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 very good. I'll show you guys what they've done. I've had big fights with Facebook, and early on in 2018, the USA Headline News organization and investors, we spent a lot of money, man, a lot of money with Facebook. Tens of thousands of dollars in advertising money to break out the name for the MFA Media Group and USA Headline News. And if you take a look right here, we have over almost 103,000 followers, okay, at our website. And I write daily articles every single day pertaining to what's happening in news. I get news, and I have articles written and up on the website and on Facebook, sometimes hours before all of mainstream media. And after our organization spending tens of thousands of dollars in advertising in 2018, the pukes at Facebook decided to start to censor us like they have done to a whole bunch of conservative news organizations and journalists. And we used to reach, this is no lie, we used to reach 3.9 million people a week with our news articles from our website. Check this out. 103,000 followers on Facebook. Now, because this is a business page, it will give me instant analytics at the bottom of each post. This post I shared about the earthquake in Puerto Rico 3 hours ago. Only 305 people have seen it. Now, if this was 6 months ago, that number of 305 would have been more like 30,000. Look at this post, 10 hours ago. Not a news article, just a post. 10 hours ago. It only reached 90 people out of 103,000. Yeah. This post about Nancy Pelosi, 11 hours ago. It only reached 75 people. You ask, why is that? Well, the little snowflake fairy tales going on at Facebook, they are literally trying to manipulate the results of the upcoming 2020 election. There's no doubt about it. I'm not the only website and Facebook page that they are doing this to. Okay? They are doing this to thousands of journalists, websites, and politicians. Okay? There's an organization out there called Project Veritas with James O'Keefe. And he had some whistleblowers from Facebook, Google, and YouTube, and Twitter that blew the whistle on their new inventive ways of shadow banning you and censoring you. Facebook does it with a code. And that code is implemented on the back end of your Facebook page. And what that does is that deboosts your Facebook page. Meaning, if you have 103,000 followers, a teeny tiny little fraction of those people are actually going to see your posts. And it's meant to censor you. It is a known fact. It's all over the internet now, since Project Veritas and James O'Keefe blew the whistle on it. So if you guys want to do some homework and check some stuff out, Google the words Facebook deboosting. Read some of the articles. They're everywhere. The whistle has been blown. And because we're more of a conservative organization, well, they decide to put their foot in my ass and limit our reach. Right here, ignorant Ilhan Omar and the little Ayatollah over there in Iran. She was actually tweeting yesterday, subliminally stating that, oh, President Trump better watch out for his international hotels, as Iran was threatening the United States. Yeah. She gave them ideas. My little post, remember what she said about 9/11? Oh, somebody did something. Remember that? Remember that on September 11th? When over 3,000 Americans went to their freaking grave? Yeah. Somebody did something. Well, guess what? The other day, somebody did something again. And that was my post. Read it. Somebody did something. Ring a bell. Iran's Khomeini taunted Trump before the Soleimani strike, where they blew his motorcade up. You can't do anything, he said to Trump. But somebody did something that day. And somebody got their ass blown to bits. Yeah. So this is what we have going on in the United States government. You have a bunch of quagmires in the British government. You have a bunch of quagmires in the French government and the Canadian government. So there's a lot of political maneuvering going on. Some people hate Trump's guts. Some people love him like he is the Messiah. We will all have to wait and see how things pan out. But this just goes to show you the censorship that is going on. My YouTube channel used to reach about 3 million views a month from 2016 and 2017. And then Obama, I even hate to say his name, but, he did something. Obama did something. And then October 2017, that's when YouTube and Google started shifting some gears. And the recommendations of videos, your subscribers don't get notifications. They changed a bunch of things around. So, yeah, we don't get 60, 70, 80,000, 100,000 views on videos anymore because, the information is suppressed. Nothing we can do about it. But see, folks, that's where you guys come in. If you guys are on Facebook and you're reading the articles, which I think that you should read them instead of looking for a picture show, read and find out what is really actually happening and share it. I get so many times that people inbox me and they email me and they say, oh, Scott, I heard what you said about sharing your videos and your articles, but I'm afraid. Oh, my family makes fun of me. Oh, my coworkers and my friends make fun of me. Hey, listen, man, that's cool. You don't want to do that. No problem. But for the majority of you guys that do have a backbone and you want to stand up for what is right, read the articles, get yourself involved, give yourself a voice. Because, folks, they're taking it away. Maybe you don't realize it, but ever so slowly, each and every day, your voice is being silenced. And if we don't all work together by sharing the information and putting the information out there over the World Wide Web, and that's why it was called the web, is because now we have the technology to take one Facebook post, one Twitter tweet, one news article, or one video, or one picture, and it could make its way around the world in a flash. But see, you can't do that unless others do their part. Last year, I created the Planet X News private network. It's $5 a month. It helps me out somewhat, and I'm not censored. I could post what I want. I can show what I want. I can talk about what I want. And I don't have to worry about some social media giant trying to put their foot back in my ass and shut me up. Yeah. So I've been doing some documentaries, and I've been uploading those documentaries to my Google Drive, and I post those on the Planet X News private network. And you can go and you could watch the documentaries in your own privacy. You don't have to worry about people trolling you. You can get your information, and that's that. And it's not a big money-making scheme, folks, like some of the troll babies say. It's not anything like that. The $5 a month, I get a very, very small portion of that. And I do pay for my web hosting for both of my websites, which is damn near $300 a month, because both websites are big. They're the Planet X News website and the USA Headline News website. They're big websites that hold a shitload of data. So, I can't go to GoDaddy and say, hey, can you host my website for $9 a month? The website wouldn't even work because of the data. And, hey, that's a $300 expense that comes out of my pocket every single month. So it's not a money-making scheme, but it does help keep things rolling. My t-shirt website with Teespring. Don't make much on the shirts, a few bucks. Facebook has put an end to that. Anytime I share one of my t-shirts from the website, nobody sees it. They have even censored my personal Facebook page. Pfft. I'll show you. You don't believe me? Look, I posted this. I have over, I don't know, a couple thousand, 2,000 friends. Mostly people I don't even know. 3 hours ago, look. No comments. Look. So, a local friend of mine, 26 years old. He's the youngest mayor of a city. And he just took back the city from the corrupt city council. And wrote an article about him because I also run the local news here in my area. And I've been doing that since 2008, 2009. 4 hours ago. One person, no comments. 11 hours ago, no comments. Few comments here. 11 hours ago, no comments. No comments. One comment. You see what I mean, Jelly Bean? So whenever I tell you that social media has their foot in my backside as far as being censored, I mean it. I truly mean it. And they're trying to drive me directly into the ground. They're trying to shut me up just like they are doing to many, many others. Let me show you something else. Let's go over to Twitter. Check this out. This is my Twitter account. Okay. You see this number right here? 274 followers. Right there. I've had the same Twitter account for quite a long time. They were shadow banning it. So I said the hell with it. I deleted the Twitter page. And back in March, right there, in March of 2009, I opened up a new Twitter account. Now listen, folks, I'm all over Twitter 16 hours a day. I can't get past 275 followers. See where it says followers right there, 274? The highest it will go is 275. And then a few days later, it will drop out of nowhere to 250. And it will stay at 250 for about a month or so. And then it will rise back up to 275. And then when it hits 275, all of a sudden, overnight, it drops down to 256 again. So Twitter shadow bans me, Facebook censors me, and YouTube doesn't recommend my videos and they don't notify my subscribers. It's no joke. It's no conspiracy. It's the hardcore truth. It sucks. I mean, it really, really does. And they've been doing it to a lot of people. I mean, they've done it to some politicians, for God's sakes. It's incredible. But it is what it is. So, you know, if any of you guys want to follow me on Twitter, please do so, man. If you're a tweeter, if you like to tweet, then go to the description box under the video, find my Twitter link, and follow me. If you want to send me a friend request on Facebook, send it. If you want to follow the Planet X News Facebook page, you want to join the group, all of the links are in the description box underneath these videos. Every single one of them. You want to join our private network in the case that one day social media decides to wipe me out, you ain't going to know where I'm at, are you? But you're always going to have that little bit of a backup because I post on the private network every single day. And like I said, I started producing documentaries on that private network. And it's the same as watching a video on YouTube. You have your video player. It's in high definition. You click on the link, takes you directly to my Google Drive, and the video player comes up, big, and you could watch it. I just recently did a pretty in-depth documentary on giants in America. Giants that were discovered in North America. The documentary is about 58 minutes long. Very, very well put together. I worked on it for several days. And it documents the discovery of giants here in North America, dating all the way back to the early 1800s. So if you're paying $5 a month for the membership for the private network, it's not like you're, just giving your $5 away. It helps me out in maintaining the costs of the websites, and the documentaries are fantastic. I can't, for some reason, show the damn documentaries on YouTube because they try to strike me on that. And if you don't believe me on that, let me show you. Check this out. Doobie doobie doo. Doobie doobie doo. You see this video right here? It's called The Veil. When will it come down? Now, this was a pretty good video documentary that I put together. It was less than 30 minutes long. I premiered that on January 4th. Yeah, it was monetized. I don't make very much from YouTube. A couple $100 a month. No big deal. But they demonetized the video, and it was about, maybe it was a little bit about aliens and predictive programming and things of that nature. Check this out. You know what? I got to move over to the old dashboard for the boob tube. I want to show you this. You see right there? There's the video. Now, the minute I premiered that video, The Veil, when will it come down? They demonetized it, and then I appealed their decision because there wasn't anything bad about it, folks. There wasn't no violence or nudity in it. It was simply talking about aliens, alien technology, and predictive programming. Well, I put in my appeal. Why did you demonetize my video? And a few days later, they denied my appeal, and they claimed, as you can read right there, not suitable for most advertisers, confirmed by manual review. And look, it got 8,200 views. Ooh. But why wouldn't they want you to see a video like that? Why? Probably because it was telling the truth about the discovery of aliens and predictive programming. Hollywood, and the government in bed. Soft disclosure. But they program you. And I guess the snowflake that manually reviewed it was offended. But yet, you could go throughout all of YouTube and you could watch people's videos of them swearing, using F words every single minute through their videos, shooting and killing animals, fighting, people fist fighting and abusing each other in the streets. Yeah, no big deal. Those are all monetized. Because they don't care about that. But what they do care about is you out there knowing the truth. Yeah. It is what it is, folks. And like I've said many, many times before, and I'm going to say it again, there's going to come a day when the actual truthers that are on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter are going to disappear. And they're going to disappear so fast, boom, blink of a light, they're gone, and you're not going to know where to find them. That's why a lot of these people have gone to these small private networks. Okay? Look, I don't know if a lot of you watch Marfugal News and Marfugal TV and Marf over there. He just went through a big bout of, wow, they tried to kill him. They tried to trash him. He got struck down hard. Now he's can't upload or do a live video presentation. He can't live stream because they tried to take him out. Now he had to move over to that other platform for gamers called D-Live. I opened up a D-Live account the other day just to see what it was like. It's not for me. It's for gamers. People that like to play video games. Now see, I could pre-record any video like we're doing now. And I have a massive 2 terabyte Google Drive. And I could upload that video to the Google Drive and provide it for all of you to see right there on the private network. That's why I have that there as a backup. Because they can't take that away from me. They could take my YouTube channel, they could shut down my Facebook and my Twitter, but they can't take my private network down. They can't do it. I don't violate any rules. I play by the rules. If you guys can afford the $5 a month and you want to help me out, you don't have to send donations. Join the private network. Enjoy it. A lot of the discoveries that I make and the photographs, I show them there on the private network days and days and days before anybody else sees them, unless it's something super critical. But I'm going to be producing more and more and more of these documentaries. I love doing it. I've got some brand new software that I invested hundreds of dollars in to make the professional documentaries look even better. So it's not like I'm sitting out there like some of these other boob tubers with my hand out saying, can you pay my car payment? Can you pay my rent? Yeah. My tiny violin is playing for you. Hey, anyways, look, folks. I've been burning up your ear for quite some time here. And, somebody gave me a live chat for $2. Hey, that's great. I appreciate that. I just noticed that. Hey, real quick, I'll take some questions if you guys want to throw some questions at me. real quick before I shut this puppy down. And then I have to venture to Walmart. Oh my God. Doobie-doobie-doo. Laura Kimball, you want to talk about Morgellons? I think I have Morgellons. I think I do. I think I truly, truly do have Morgellons. I have these things coming out of me on a daily basis. Maybe I'll do a live stream later on today or tomorrow, and I'll show you the evidence that's been coming out of me, Morgellons. It's nasty. There's days, folks, that I'll be quite honest with you, man. There's days that I go to sleep at night, and I don't sleep very much. I sleep maybe 3 or 4 hours a day. And as of lately, over the last couple of months, there's been days that I lay my head down to go to sleep, and I have this nasty, gut-wrenching feeling that I'm not going to wake up. I don't know why. I mean, I don't have any illnesses. I'm in good health. But I just keep having these weird feelings. Maybe that day will come soon. I'm sure there will be a lot of freaking people out there throwing parties. And I know I won't be invited because I'll be dead. Question, does spraying cause weakening of the magnetosphere? Palm Mom, no. Spraying of the chemtrails, no, that doesn't have anything to do with our magnetic field. But it is an awful shame that they are treating our environment like that. And believe me, trust me when I tell you, after writing that book with Dr. Albers about chemtrailing and the killers in the sky, they're never going to stop. And it's definitely going to have more and more and more effects on our atmosphere, our weather, plant life, animal life, and human life. But I guess they don't care. Oh, this guy got to go right here. This guy's a troll. Boom. Yeah. Well, that's the first troll I've had to whack in a long time. Yeah. Yeah, folks, look. It is what it is. I'm going to continue to do my daily research. And it is truly a shame that there are other people out there taking advantage of all of you by making these half-assed videos and spewing just complete lies. And yeah, it does upset me. It upsets me quite a bit because I know each and every one of you take your time, your personal and private time, to listen to me and also listening to them. You know, it would be one thing if half of what they said was true. But they're not even 1/10 telling the truth. You want to take this information from some nutcase British guy with his hair standing up like freaking Einstein, who was living out of a little van. And then you got old Stevie Olsen out there that doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. And then you got some other guy who's dwelling around in a makeshift school bus, and they're scientists telling you what's happening. And they're just outright telling you a story, a fairy tale, and just completely lying to you. And I don't think that's fair. And for all of you that donate a lot of money to these people, I mean, it's your money. you'd be better off taking that money and making a donation to, Salvation Army, some soup kitchen to feed some homeless people, maybe Shriners Hospital, St. Jude's for children that are born with birth defects. These guys don't need your money because all they're doing is you guys are paying their bills. And I think that's pretty disgusting. But then again, it's your money. It's your personal time. You can do with it what you want. Let's see here. Oh, who's in there preaching the Bible? Yeah. Well, look, folks, I got a busy day ahead of me. I'm glad each and every one of you took the time out to listen to me this morning. I'm going to keep an eye on everything that's going on with these earthquakes and this coronal mass ejection that's heading towards Earth. I think that's much more serious, and we got a lot of bad blood brewing in politics. I'm sure each and every one of you know that by now. And if any of you want to follow my actual national news page, I'd appreciate it. I just put the link in the live chat. I will also put the link in the description box later on after I end this live stream. But let me show you something real quick. Let me show you a little trick with Facebook. And this goes for all of the pages that you like. And you may have to go back through Facebook and change your settings. But you see right here, whenever you like a video or when you like a page, you click that like button. And then you move over here to this follow button. And this is where Facebook screwed everybody. When you click on this button right here, follow, this drop-down menu pops up. Go all the way down, click this button here that says see first, and then move all the way down here and click this so it says see all posts and offers. You got to make sure that is always set. And then you're done. Those Facebook pages that you follow will always pop up in your notifications right there. If you don't, you will only see 1 in maybe 25 posts. That's how they changed the game, folks. They never announced it. That's been going on now for almost 2 years, and they changed the little algorithm again. So you have to fight. And how you fight is with knowledge. Remember my saying, folks, that I use all the time? Knowledge is power, man. Power is knowledge. Plain and simple. So if you want to follow the politics, you want to follow national news, and you want to join me here on USA Headline News, jump on in, but make sure you set these correct settings on Facebook. If you don't, well, you will only see maybe every once in a while a post or an article that you want to see. You want to do me another favor and do everybody else a favor and start waking up more people? When I post the articles on our website, both the Planet X News website and the USA Headline News website, because here we are, great looking website. I helped develop this just about 2 years ago. And like I said, articles, probably about 10 articles a day. go up here. They're all mainstream headline news. And whenever you click on one of the articles, do everybody a favor, man. Do everybody a favor. Click that share button and share it to Facebook. Copy the title, paste it, put it right in there, and share it. It's all it takes, folks. A few seconds. If you have a Twitter account, tweet it. Click the button and tweet it. That's it, man. And you could help start to spread the news, spread the news articles, and you yourself could become a little, as they call it, aggregator of news. And there's a lot of people that do it. But not only do I ask that you share the articles, but read them. Because I do my research in writing these articles. I embed videos if they're available. I go through Twitter. I find information on Twitter, whether they're videos or tweets from others. I embed them into all of the articles. And yeah, it has advertising on it. But what website doesn't? Because if you don't, you're not going to reach anybody. Because it's Google. It's Google, baby. And, if you do want to make a donation to the organization to keep the websites going, there is a PayPal donation link there. But we haven't received a donation for USA Headline News, I think, in almost 2 years. Because we really don't push the issue, but, some people ask about it and they want to participate and they want to help out. But we're not asking anybody to pay our rent or buy us a car or a new freaking computer. And you can hit our online store right there if you're interested in any of our shirts. Same thing, fantastic shirts that I design. Good majority of them are Trump related. There's some chemtrail conspiracy theorists. Generation X, which actually somebody asked me to make because they were trying to explain to their kids what Generation X was. And the majority of us, we're all Generation Xers. And I change the T-shirts from time to time, just about every 2 weeks. New shirts go up, and they're all about $25. If anybody has special requests, I've got special software now that I could make the transparent images real quick and just about put any design on any shirt. I did a few friends of mine down at the U.S. Steel local union. They wanted me to make them shirts and hoodies. And a friend of mine who's a DJ, I made her some hoodies and some shirts for all of her local fans. And, look, I've always been a little entrepreneur. But I work. I don't just stand out there on some street corner with my little tin cup, shaking it and saying, "Give me $1, I make you holla." But all of the links for everything related to Planet X News, all in the description box, folks. Hey, I know some of you are saying that, I deleted Facebook. Hey, if you deleted Facebook and you don't use it anymore, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe because of me, maybe you want to jump back on Facebook and join the party. Because things are going to get really, really, really interesting in 90 days from now. By March and April, we're going to start seeing all kinds of other crazy things happening to our planet. But at the same time, on the political front, man, we're going to see some really whacked things. And if you live in the United States and you're an American citizen, you're an American, and you value your freedom, you're going to want to follow some very, very accurate news. And I feel I produce it on a daily basis. And I think I'm going to be joining one of these campaigns in the very near future. Already put my application into the RNC. We'll see how that goes. But it's going to be one hell of a ride from this point on. Every day is going to be one huge change. And things are brewing over there in the Middle East and with these nut jobs around the world. And you want to keep yourself notified. You want to keep yourself in the loop. I think it is truly time, folks, that each and every one of us stand up, grow a set of balls, and get out there and voice our opinions. Whether we disagree or we agree, everybody should have a voice. But we shouldn't lie. Especially if you're in a position where hundreds of thousands of people follow you and rely on the information that you're providing. Don't lie. Don't lie. Anyways, folks, I'm out of here. I am getting ready to go to Walmart. I'm all set to have my anxiety attack when I go in there, and I fight off the mutants. They're everywhere in Walmart. But look, each and every one of you, be safe. Watch your weather very, very carefully where you're at. We just had we actually had two very, very, very tragic highway accidents here 2 days ago. A massive pileup on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, 60 people injured and 5 people killed. One of them was a local paramedic right here in my town. He's getting out of the back of an ambulance, and he was hit by a truck that was crashing. And then hours later on Interstate 70, another huge pileup and more people killed and injured. And all weather related, black ice, foggy conditions. And we're going to see more and more wacky weather. So stay tuned into your weather and drive slow. Take it easy on the roads. Be cautious. And like the saying goes, arrive alive. Anyways, folks, I'm out of here. Be safe. Anything pops up catastrophic, you know that you will hear from me right here at Planet X News. Take care, everybody, and you will hear from me soon.